We've got two good cushions here. We just want to sculpt them a little bit so they're not so boxy. Let's make unique copies of them. I'll select both the cushions, holding down Shift, clicking on those objects, and just do Control D, the keyboard shortcut. Control D, and then move those over. Now I've got back cushion 2 and bottom cushion 2. We can see that in the outliner, window outliner. So we got automatically named objects. Make another duplicate, Control D. When we use the Control D keyboard shortcut, we're creating new objects that do not share any history or shape nodes. And they're all the same now. They all have the same UV mapping. We could fix this in a couple of ways. We could maybe rotate or move the objects around, or we could adjust the UVs on each object. To make the mapping on each cushion unique, we can simply select one of the objects and go into Edit UVs, UV Texture Editor. And if you're in a checkered shaded mode, turn it off. Right-click and enter Shell Component Mode. Select the shell and move it with the Move tool. Just make it so that it doesn't match the other objects around it. When you finish with one, it's best to exit out of Component Mode, right-click and go to Object Mode, and then select a different object, and then go back into Shell Component Mode and select. And we're just kind of randomizing this so that they're not all the same. All right, I've randomized the UVs a little bit, and now we can sculpt the cushions. The first way I'll show you is soft selection, and that's an aspect of the transform tools here, particularly the Move tool. I'll select an object and go into Vertex Component Mode. Right-click and choose Vertex, and click a single vertex in the center. And with the Move tool active, tap the B key on the keyboard. When you tap the B key, you enter something called Soft Selection Mode. But currently it's a very small radius. We can see this more clearly if we open up the Move tool. Double-click the Move tool to open its tool settings. And scroll down and you'll see Soft Selection. And there's a fall-off radius. If I increase that radius and release the mouse, then we see color coding out here, showing how the influence has been adjusted. If I bring that down to a pretty low value, like let's say 20, and then move that single vertex, you'll see the other vertices around it moved as well. I'll undo that. We can adjust the radius with the B key as well. So the B key in Maya has double duty. Tap the B key and you turn Soft Select on and off. Hold the B key down while Soft Select is active, and left mouse click and drag left to right in the view, and you'll increase or decrease that radius. When you release the mouse, you will see the value update here. Hold down B to change the brush radius. I'm going to change the curve here, make it a custom curve. Select this first point on that curve and set the interpolation to linear, and just click to create a couple more curves. And this is going to adjust the influence of our soft selection. It'll have greater influence near the center now because I've drawn this curve. And I can move that up. And you can see I'm getting a more pleasing result. Undo that again. Additionally, we can change the manner in which this is selecting. You'll see fall off mode. Choose surface, and then it won't go around corners as much or affect back faces. Play with that. And I think maybe I'll just give it a little bit of an S curve down at the bottom here so it's not quite so drastic in terms of the transition there. So now that should be smoother. There we go. Maybe a little bit more selection. I can actually expand that selection with Shift period. And now I've got 9 vertices selected there. I'll go into shaded view with the 5 key. We can see it. So those are hard selected vertices. There's 9 of them there in the center. And I can move those as a unit. All right, that's pretty cool. We can see that in the side view, what exactly we're doing there. And I can move on to the next. I'm just going to quickly, briefly do a bunch of these. Maybe adjust the fall off radius as I go, holding down B and adjusting that value. Making it look lived in. Go to the next object, right click and choose Vertex Mode. If you don't get what you want, you can just hit Z to undo. And in fact, we can right-click and go into vertex component mode on multiple objects. Right-click and choose vertex mode, and then go to the next object and right-click and choose vertex. And once again, right-click and choose vertex, and I've got them all selected. And then select the vertices with Shift-Control-Click. And we have vertices selected on different objects now. Pull those forward. And again, we don't want them to be exactly the same, so maybe push them around a little bit. All right, so I can do the same here, of course, and I can move all of those forward the same amount. Or make them different as well. So they're not exactly the same. Okay, that's soft selection. We can tap the spacebar, go out to our perspective view, and jump back to object mode in all objects. So right-click and choose object mode. And admire what we've done. Soft selection is still on, by the way. We won't see it in object mode, but as soon as we go into component mode, we'll be in soft selection mode. So we might want to turn it off, press the B key and shut off soft selection, and then right-click and go back to object mode. Here's the result. We can make it better. Let's use the sculpt tool in order to do that. We'll do that in the next movie. At this point, we can increment and save.